All right, hey guys. I just wanted to go through kind of my MATLab version, and I just did it for the sample ranked votes. I didn't do for the second round. It's 10 o'clock on Tuesday night, and if you can't see, my daughter is asleep on my lap, and I still got to get stuff ready for our next assignment for tomorrow. So I just wanted to shoot this out. This is a really complicated way to do it. As you guys know, I am not the most experienced with MATLAB, so I'm kind of learning right there with you guys. But here's kind of how I work through this, and it's real. This way is only going to work with this set of data. I want to go through and see how I can build it so that it's going to work for any groupings of data, but I just don't have time right now. So if you can't hear, my youngest is crying in his crib, so I'm going to try to get through this. But first, we're going to import our data here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to convert the data because the first row are headers, so we don't need that first row. So that's why it's 2 through 21 instead of 1 through 21. So 20 sets of data, or 20 votes, essentially. And then also when the data comes in, it's going to be irrational. So we're going to convert all the values to real. So we just get ones through fours. Okay. Then here's how I do it. I display round one. I'm going to display just the raw votes. So that's what you see here, my raw votes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 20 with that. Then what we want to do is we want to count how many first place votes each candidate got. Okay. So that's going to look like I'm going to do for 1 through 4. So basically, this is candidate 1 first. We're going to do everything for candidate 1. Then it's going to come back up, do everything for candidate 2, candidate 3, candidate 4. Okay, so the total for candidate 1 is to start is 0. And then what it is for r equals 1 to the length of votes. So for 1 through 20, if votes 1, 1 equals 1, then our total is going to add 1. So our total starts at 0, and we're going to add 1 to it. So at 1, 1, you can kind of see over here, 1, 1 is a 1, so it's going to be 1. 1, 2 is not, 1, 3 is not, 1, 4 is not, 1, 5 is not, 1, 6 is. So then it's going to add another 1 to totals there. So it's going to do all of that. So it's a loop within a loop, right? So we're going to do this loop 20 times. We're going to count all of them for 1, and then we're going to end that and go back up, and now we're going to do x equals 2. So we're going to do all of the second columns and then all the third columns and all the fourth columns, okay? And then what I did is I displayed the first place votes as totals, and that's what you see over here, 7, 4, 6, 3. And then what I did was I found the index. So find the index of the column with the lowest total value. So basically I found my totals, and I said my minimum, A is the value, so that's 3. But we don't want that. We just want to know which candidate lost. So B is the index value, so that's the fourth one there. And so that's where it says display round 1 loser is candidate, and then in display B, where again B is my index. So round 1 loser is candidate 4. So then what we want to do is we want to build our new set of votes, but we want candidate 4's first place votes to turn into 1s for their next best candidate, right? Or their second place. So example here, right? Oh, I don't want that to go away. But here, for the fourth person that voted, this 1 here needs to go to here, to the second candidate. Okay, so how we're going to do that is basically we're going to define a variable z is going to equal 1 to the length of 20. So we're going to do this for all 20 things. Okay, and again, this is brute force. This is only going to work for this setup because I know. But basically, I said if votes zb, so if votes 1b, and b is designating the loser, right? So b is 4. Okay, so the loser, if 1, 4 is 1, then I want it to do something, right? If it's not 1, it's just going to skip all of this, right? So basically what I'm saying, if 1, 4 is 1 and 1, 1 is equal to 2, then I want 1, 1 equal to 1. So we're going to change that 2, which was 1, 1, into a 1, right? If this is not true, then it's going to go to this. If 1, 4 is equal to 1 and 1, 2 is equal to 2, then it's going to change the second candidate. If the third candidate is the one, it's going to change that. And it's going to do that. And you can see I do that here, and then we're just going to repeat the process. But what I did is I actually removed that fourth candidate. So how you can do that is by votes is equal to colon, all of the columns, B, that's my lowest candidate, so that in this case is column B, and then I'm going to make it equal to this square bracket, right? So you can kind of see that. That's the square bracket. That's basically just saying we want to delete it. We want to eliminate it. We want to take it away. All right, so that's how I get from 4 columns down to 3. And then I just am going to repeat the process. So basically the exact same thing that I did before, except now I'm only going to need 3 columns, and I'm going to repeat that process. So I think I'll show you guys here. I don't want to skip ahead, sorry. I'm then going to display the total votes. I'm going to make this totals 2, so I changed it to totals 2, so it's just keeping track of the totals. If you just left it at totals, you're always going to get, and you don't delete that fourth column here, you're going to get like 9, 5, 6, and then 3, which we don't want that because then it's always going to take that last one as the minimum. I again did my minimum here. I changed it to C and D so that then I could repeat that process that I already did where if votes Z, D, but now here you just got to be careful because the first time that comes into play, that's a 2, which is good, right? But then this is a 3 and a 4. And so we can't have it as a 2 and a 3 because we're going to change this 3 into a 1. And so what I did was I said if votes of candidate 1 is less than votes of candidate 3, then candidate 1 is a 1. If votes D is equal to 1 and votes candidate 1 is greater than candidate 3, then candidate 3 gets the 1. So that's how we're designating who gets the 1 vote from candidate 2, who was the losing candidate. And then again, going to eliminate that. I'm then going to have my third round where there's only 2 candidates, and then I get my total votes there. Okay, so hey, it's ugly. It's a lot. It's way more than I think what I would have to do. I think I can simplify it by, you know, if you're doing the same loop, right, and you're doing this process 3 times and we're doing this process twice, there should be ways to shorten it. Obviously, I just didn't have time to do that, but I want to show you guys kind of a way that you can work through this process. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, it's a brute force. It's not going to work for the second set of data just because that data has more candidates, it's more votes. So it's going to take a little bit adjusting, but that's kind of a way to get started and to think about how this setup is going to look.